But how does one follow through this goal? Is it achievable? Yes. But is it easy? Certainly not. Today with me, I have a young, vibrant author, Tendai Dandara, who will discuss his book titled The Success Pyramid, which is a step by step approach to success. This is Code 0292, and I'm your host, Lungile. Welcome, Tendai, to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, who is Tendai before we get on to your book, The Success Pyramid?
Yeah, thank you very much. Tendai is a student at NAS here in Blawayo. I was born and raised in the eastern highlands of the country, in the city of Mutare. That's where I did my primary and secondary education. I'm passionate about writing, though I'm studying accounting. In short, that's who Tendai is.
All right, and let's talk about your book, The Success Pyramid. Why that title, The Success Pyramid?
You understand, everyone's goal is to become successful. Everyone has success at that. Everyone tries to attain success. But there's been so many theories written about how you can become successful. So I just thought I should write something that is contextual to our continent, Africa, because people have been using so many books that were written by American, European billionaires, but some of the concepts are not applicable here in Africa. So I just thought I should write something that is contextual, with particular reference to Zimbabwe, because I've been in Zimbabwe, I've lived through the economic hardships. So I think the concept inside the book can help someone to attain success.
All right, so let's talk about what the contents that are inside the book. What can someone find in your book, The Success Pyramid?
Okay, so in the success pyramid, you find a lot of things. Basically, I have 5 elements that I listed in the book. I'll share with them as we go in the show. So what you find in the book, you find the concept of prioritization, you find the concept of agency and importance, you find Bible references, you find things related to love, you find things related to family. There are a lot of things that are in the book. It touches various aspects of life. That's what's inside the book.
And you're mentioning a lot of things: priority, agency, love, and everything else that you just mentioned. Why did you particularly focus on those issues in relating to success?
Okay, so these issues that I've mentioned are basics. Before you even think about success, obviously one to need needs to know God. Coming from a Christian background, some of the concepts that I listed in the book are actually trying to explain that you can't do anything without God. The more you detach yourself from God, the more difficult your life becomes. So these elements are just basics that one must have before they even think about success. So even if you have these 5 basic elements, it doesn't mean that you become successful, but it is the starting point. Because success depends with one's goals, one's priorities. But I'm just giving the basics, the must-have concept or elements that one must possess before they even think about success.
And from what you're saying, I'm sure you mentioned earlier that you put this book and you conceptualized it and you contextualized it to the Zimbabwean perspective, so that people don't refer to success books in America and other countries. So let's talk about your personal experiences. In what way were they affected through by writing this book?
Okay, so being raised by a single parent, uh, where I grew up, I was born in 1996. So when I was around grade 7, we had a serious economic meltdown around 2007. So I survived through the economic hardships. I survived through the struggles of not having money for fees. I survived through the hardships of being raised by a single parent, not having someone to call dad. I also survived through the decisions like which church should I go, why should I go to church. So basically, this concept are being explained from my life experiences. Just like it is said that history repeats itself, I know there's someone out there, someone who's going through the same experiences that I've gone through. So what I actually want to do, I actually want to communicate with that one person. Obviously, I know from the element that I mentioned, one or two things will relate to either of us, either you or me or one person who is listening to me now. So these concepts are actually applicable, and they actually speak to an ordinary Zimbabwean, because I've been through the struggle. I've lived a life of an orphan, though I had both parents alive. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the element of prioritization. How does one know what to prioritize when they want to be successful in life?
Okay, so from taking from what I wrote inside the book, everyone needs to know that basically, taking for example, if you remove your battery, let's say you're using those old phones, if you remove your battery from your cell phone, it will not function without the battery. So basically, one needs to know that if you run away or if you detach yourself from God, you are not gonna achieve anything. So these elements are actually the must-have concept, like what I mentioned earlier. One needs to know that God is the source of everything. God is the creator. He possesses all the things. So it explains, it strengthens your faith, because basically success depends with what you believe in. If you, the more you believe in the goal that you are chasing against, the more you work hard towards it. So in the book, these elements are actually, it wasn't just a random choice to put the five elements that I'm going to discuss about today, but it was actually an in-depth research where I tried to focus on things that are actually affecting people in their daily lives. So you discover that I was talking about knowing your source, being born again, and understanding that God is the source of all things. I also talked about knowledge, because if you, let's say you want to become a doctor, you can't become a doctor if you don't have knowledge in terms of career guidance about where you want to go. I also talked about wealth. You understand that though people might say money is the root of all evil, we need to understand that with money comes power. There are some things that you can attain without money. Then I also mentioned the issue of love. Um, the reason why I wrote this book is because I was supported from home. The reason why I went out, I came here to Blawayo to start accounting and to follow my dream, my passion in writing. It was because I knew that my dream was cherished at home. People supported me. I also mentioned about family. Family is actually the foundation to all the things that we want to attain. If you are not supported at home, then you know that sometimes it's difficult for you to attain what you want to attain. Your parents, your guidance, are the people that gives you financial stamina, financial support. So you need to be able to relate with them closely. You need to be able to be in good books with them. So these are the five elements that I wrote inside the book. And I believe if an ordinary Zimbabwean get those of the book and read the book, they're actually gonna find some lessons or concepts that will help them to attain the success that they want to attain.
All right. And how practical or applicable is this book in one's life? Because you're mentioning a lot of things, and someone might say that I go to church, I pray, I've got a goal that I want to achieve, but it's really hard out there. So how can this book help an ordinary person apply it in their life?
Okay, thank you very much. So, like what you're saying, we come from different backgrounds. If I talk about the issue of wealth, there are some people who are born in families that are already well up. So, what this concept actually presents to you, yeah, you might not be born again, then you need to start at the base of the pyramid, or you might be born again, then you need to be able to seek or to acquire the knowledge that you need for you to attain your goal. So, this success pyramid is actually applicable to each and everyone who is striving towards attaining a certain goal. The reason being, if you are born again, if you have the knowledge about the career or the dreams that you want to attain, you might not have wealth. And let's say you have the wealth. I have actually discovered that there are some people who have money, but they don't have that experience. They don't have love at home. So it actually relates to a lot of people. You might have the wealth, you might have been born again, you might have the knowledge about where you want to go. But what I'm sure and certainly sure is that among the five elements, there is one thing that can be missing in your life. It might be that love from family, it might be the support from family. So if you have attained three of the elements, then you might need to consider just working towards attaining the last two.
All right. And from the title of your book, The Success Pyramid, I'm sure that in some way, uh, pyramid, the word pyramid has a meaning in your book, since pyramid starts from the bottom and it goes like up in a triangle way. So these elements, are they also in a hierarchical order, or they come through the way that you prioritize your things?
Okay, so this the way the pyramid is structured is actually it has been discussed by some authors like Njabulo in Blawayo. I put God at the base of the pyramid, and people might actually wonder why I had to put God at the base of the pyramid when people actually understood that the apex or the top part of the pyramid seems to be a point where a human being would have attained what I would call self-actualization. So the reason why I put God at the base of the pyramid is because I'm saying that before you even think of attaining or working towards anything, you need to seek God. So the reason why I had to put them in sort of like a hierarchical order is not the hierarchy that we are used to. The reason why I had to put God at the bottom, I need one to know that it is the starting point. Though people might debate and say that, but why did you put God at the base when God is actually the most important person that you can't do without? So, like what you mentioned, the pyramid, the shape a pyramid on its own, tracing back to Egypt, it's so amazing how pyramids were built. Those people didn't have cranes, but the way they built the pyramid is just amazing. So, the reason why I chose to call it the success pyramid is because I wanted to put the context of the complexity that comes with building a pyramid in relation to success. Success is not easy to attain, though it is each and everyone's goal. So the reason why I chose the topic success pyramid is because I wanted people to understand that it's not easy to become successful, just like it wasn't easy for those guys in Egypt to build the pyramids.
And so you put God at the base. So what comes after God?
So after God comes knowledge. Even in the Bible, God says that if you seek me, I'll give you secret knowledge. I didn't know when I was reading the Bible. That's when I actually discovered that God also has secrets. So there is a certain type of knowledge that you not have if you do not seek God. So after God, you discover that you need to seek knowledge about God. About God, you need to seek knowledge about the career path that you want to follow. You need to seek knowledge about the goals that you want to attain.
All right. So in your own words or from your own book, how would you define someone who's successful?
So basically, there is no one universal definition of success because success depends with what you were seeking. If I am working towards becoming a doctor, the day I graduate as a doctor, I can actually call myself successful. So success is contextual. And from my own book, I never gave a proper definition of success because it depends with what you are seeking. If I say uh, for you to become successful, you must have 10 million in your account, then some people might as well consider dying as failures because you might not have such an amount in your account. So success doesn't have one universal definition, and success is not a destination; it's a journey. So I can't actually give it a proper definition because it depends. Once you become a doctor, you continue to seek higher goals or a complex goals. So success doesn't have one universal definition. But what I can actually say in my own words, success is when you actually reach a point where you could say I have attained this goal. It's not the end, but you are going you have attained one of your goals because we have so many goals. It's actually complicated to define, and it depends with your context and what you want to attain.
All right. Um, so most of the times when people talk about success, they really look at success stories and they tend to avoid talking about failures and any point in their lifetime where they actually failed in something like that. So in your book, do you also focus on something for those people who have failed in life and have lost hope and they want to try again?
So in my book, I actually mentioned it when I was giving the introduction that a lot has been written about success and failure. There are people who have succeeded who wrote books. There are people who have failed. For example, taking the context of Jack Ma, he wrote a book about failure just because he failed several times. We have examples of people like Thomas Edison. We have examples of some politicians in Zimbabwe who have failed and they wrote books about failure. So I just felt like, if I continue writing about success and failure, I wouldn't be helping someone. So what I wrote, I gave a solution. Whether you succeed or you fail, you need to have something to refer to. So this book will actually help you whether you are a success or a failure. If you are a failure, then you need to go to the basics. You need to go to refer to those 5 elements that I mentioned earlier. If you are successful, you might as well need to revisit the book. You might as well need to revisit the basics and discover maybe you're successful, but you don't know God. Maybe you're successful, but you don't have that personal attachment with your mom or your dad. Maybe you're successful, but you are not in a good relationship with your wife. So what I actually wrote inside the book can help anyone, whether you're a success or you're a failure. It gives you concepts that you need for you to live peacefully with others. If you are a failure, for you to be able to know why you failed in at the first place, what you need to do, why you need to do that.
Okay. And in your book, there are wisdom keys that you write about. Can you mention some of them that you mentioned in your book?
So in my book, it was actually the conclusive part of the book. I wrote what I call 25 wisdom keys. There are certain habits that we do not know that are important. There are certain habits that matter in life. So in my book, I'll just pick at random. I wrote 45 wisdom keys that I call the basics when it comes to a person being successful. So one of the keys is letting go of toxic people. The reason why I had to write about letting go of toxic people, I discovered that people actually live their lives for others. If we take, for example, the way I'm dressed, people might be saying I'm copying, I don't know, in Nigeria, maybe I'm copying in a Nigerian actor. So the reason why I said you have to let go of toxic people, there are people whom you keep in your life, people whom you think are so important, but those people might be the one who are pulling you down. I also wrote about redefining your own frontiers of success. You know, when you are like what I mentioned earlier, when you get a goal to become a doctor, once you attain that goal, you need to redefine your frontiers. You need to redefine what you call success in the context of your own dream. So I also wrote about being okay with failing. Failure is to me is not something that's shocking. Failure is simply a sign that you can try once more. Failure doesn't mean that you can't do it. So I just thought I should write about you being comfortable with failure, because failure is part of the journey. I also wrote about choosing your own battles. There are so many battles that comes in our lives. There are so many battles that we face each and every day. But we need to reconsider there are some battles that are not worth fighting. It's not every battle that comes to us that we have to fight. If I take for example, people might be talking about you on social media. Sometimes we need to reconsider and see whether it's important for you to answer back. If it's not important, then you might as well consider leaving it. And then I also wrote about lastly, I also wrote about stepping outside your comfort zone. We have so many comfort zone. Taking for example, you might have grown in a rich, you might have been raised in a rich family. That can be a comfort zone. You might have been raised in a poor background. It can be a comfort zone. I know people might be wondering why I'm saying a poor background can be a comfort zone. You know, there's so many people who accept and say that, you know, for me, I was raised by a poor mother. I was raised by a vendor and a father who didn't even own any asset. So there is nothing I can attain in life. So you become comfortable in your own situation. So it's five of the other 25 wisdom keys that I wrote in the book that I felt like, no, people need to know that there are certain habits and certain things that are worth living. If you want to become successful, then you have to be able to be that 1%. Because I actually believe that the reason why people become successful is because there is what's common when it comes to the way we live. What 99 percent of the people are doing doesn't make you successful. What people call normal doesn't make you successful. So you need to be able to know what's in that 1% that is being done by the other people who have made it.
All right. So apart from the book and apart from you studying at NAST accounting, what else do you do?
So I'm an entrepreneur. At the moment, I presented a project to UNICEF that was a software that addresses problems relating to the education system in Zimbabwe. So we're actually running that project, and I'm also in the process of working on another big project for the Ministry of Education. So I'm an entrepreneur, like what I mentioned earlier. Sometimes you need to know that for people to listen to you, you need to have money. So I'm not doing this because I'm actually chasing against money. I'm not saying money is what I call success to me, but sometimes you need resources, financial tools for you to be able to chase the dreams that you want to follow. Like for you to print this book, you need money. So I also work on various business enterprises, and I'm a student, like what I mentioned earlier. So I do a lot of things on campus.
Okay, that's really awesome. So when will your book be launched?
So the book will be launched on the 7th of June in Harare. At the moment, if you want to get a copy, you can pre-order. Then on the 6th of June, that's when we'll be dispersing the sold copies. So the book will be launched in Harare on the 7th, and everyone is invited If you want to come, I can't confirm the speakers for now, but just be assured that there will be so many great people. Among them is the lady who wrote the foreword for the book. Her name is Dr. Mtisi. She'll be part of the panelists for the day.
All right. And you know, a lot of people might want to know uh, who is the target audience for the book? Like, who should actually read your book?
So my target audience for the book is everyone. The reason why I'm saying is everyone, whether you are a teenager, whether you are 65, whether you are 80, is because I do believe that it's never late or earlier for you to follow your dream. You might be 80, but when you grow up, you would have set goals where you said, for me, I want to be able to help orphans go to school. I want to be able to attain this. I want to be able to set a charity organization. We all have dreams. There are people who have retired from their jobs, but they still have dreams. So this book can actually be read by each and everyone. And the reason why I'm saying the target audience is everyone is because I believe that it's never too late for you to follow your dream. It's never too early. You might be in primary school, you might be in secondary school. The book can actually suit you because it's never too early. We don't have time. We have limited time here on earth. So you never know when you're going to die. You might procrastinate and say that, no, I'll read the book when I'm 25, but maybe you will not reach that age. So the book can actually be read by each and everyone. Yes.
All right. And before we close, would you mind just sharing a paragraph of something which is inspirational, which might be inspirational to
Okay,
the
so
person watching?
okay. So what I will share with you is the last paragraph of the book.
All right.
The last paragraph of the book talks about hard work. So in the last paragraph, I was saying there are no shortcuts to achieving your greatness except hard work. Allow me to close by quoting Frederick Douglass, a statesman, in his speech called "A Self-Made Man." He said, I open quote, "We may explain success mainly by one word, and that word is work, 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 and work. No transient or fitful effort, but patience, endurance, honesty, unremitting and undefinable work into which the whole heart is put, and into which temporal spiritual affairs and um, God, the miracle worker, does his work. Everyone may avail himself on this marvelous power if he will. There is no royal road to perfection. Certainly, no one must wait for some kind of friend to put a springing board under his feet, upon which he may easily bound from the first round of their ladder onward and upwards to its highest round. If he awaits for this, he may await long and perhaps forever. He who does not think himself worth saving from poverty and ignorance from his own work efforts will hardly be thought worth of the efforts of anybody else.
All right. Thank you so much, Tendai, for coming to the show.
Okay, thank you for having me. I just hope that a lot of people in Blawayo will be able to get this copy because it's actually contextual to any Zimbabwean citizen.
All right. And thank you for watching Code 0292. From me, Lungile, it's bye for now. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter. See you next week.